So I would love to introduce the world's only FOMO creator to talk about how to create FOMO for your business, your event, or anything else. Please welcome to the happy birthday Linking Out Club stage, making Tsang.
Okie dokie. So, hi everyone. My name's Making Tsang. My first name is Making, and today we're going to talk about how to create FOMO on social media for your business. Okay, so today we're going to talk about what is FOMO, how not to get started with FOMO, and 5 seems to be the magic number today, doesn't it? So we're going to look at the 5 steps to FOMO. Now pay attention, because the question that Sarah's going to ask for you to be in with a chance of winning that Atomicon ticket is in the 5-step process. Then we're going to look at case studies, because does FOMO work? Well, of course it does, and I'm going to demonstrate how. And then we've got the Q&A and extra Brucey bonuses for you right at the end. Okay, so if you were to Google it, FOMO, it will tell you that FOMO is an exciting or interesting event that may currently be happening elsewhere, often aroused by posts seen on social media. Now, I know what you're thinking, because when I first declared myself as a FOMO creator, a few people DM'd me and said, FOMO? Yeah, I don't want FOMO. I want JOMO, the joy of missing out. But do you? Do you want the joy of people missing out on your business? No, absolutely not. So when I'm talking about FOMO strategy, I'm talking about positive FOMO. I'm talking about being so positive and shouting about and getting other people to shout about how amazing your business is, so that your lurkers, because let's face it, we've all got lurkers on social media, they will think, oh my goodness, I need to book on to this next event. I need to join Sarah's Academy. I need to go to next month's Lincoln Out Club to listen to Ray. That is what FOMO is about. It's a positive experience to give your lurkers the incentive to go and buy your ticket or buy your service. Okay. Now, FOMO is really about bridging the gap between social media and PR. Now, I had a quick look around our audience today, and some of you may be old enough to remember The Truman Show. It was a fabulous film in the 1990s. Jim Carrey's character was being filmed 24/7. Okay, now FOMO is all about bridging the gap between social media and becoming a PR agency, because unlike the Truman Show, you have the power on social media to let people in. And you don't need to film 24/7, because let's face it, that'd be boring. But what we do have the power to do is to let people into our lives a little bit, to get people to understand who we are as a person, get people to understand who we are so that they can build relationships with us, or we can build relationships with others, build a community, and then eventually gain recommendations or maybe even buy from us. So FOMO is using social media to bridge the gap between itself and PR. Now, I've used this 5-step process. I've done it in 3 cities, 2 countries, UK and Australia, came back to the UK in 2016, and I had to use this process again to build a presence here, because I was away from the country for 6 years, and so I did it by writing a blog. You can see the name of my blog, Making Mistakes. And I wrote about social media, I wrote about social media strategy, building business, networking, and so on. That got picked up, and I headhunted. I was headhunted by Google for a project in Sheffield. So this was me with a few colleagues. I also asked to speak my first European gig in 2017, I think it was, in Lithuania, which is amazing. And I talked about social media strategy there. So by using, and you can see my 5-step process here, this will eventually help you to generate FOMO for your business. But we need to start right from the beginning. We need to build a community. We need to build relationships. We need to showcase that we know what we're talking about and we are an authority. And BTS. No, I don't mean the K-pop group BTS, but I mean behind the scenes. Show behind the scenes of what you do to give those lurkers a bit of something to get to know you a bit more. And that's where the FOMO kicks in. And if you do your FOMO strategy correctly and create your own PR agency by showcasing on social media what you do, get famous, notoriety, get on TV, radio, and social media as well, then you will get people coming to you and asking you, what are your prices for your services? And that's a direct communication bit. So that's a 5-step process, but let's break it down each and every step. So before we do that though, let's talk about how not to get started on social media. Now, a lot of you use social media already, which is amazing. All of you should be on LinkedIn. And if you're not, why not? And you should know, hopefully, for your business, for your cause, for your charity, you should not be selling from your first post. We should know that. Okay. It's not like TV. It's not like radio. It's not like Yellow Pages for those of us old enough to remember. We don't advertise our business, and that's it. A social media strategy is about building relationships, building community, building, showcasing our authority and getting notoriety. And that's when the customers come in. So this is how not to do social media. It's just a quick reminder. But how we do social media is the 5 steps I was talking about. And the first step is build community. Now, there are lots of social media people in this audience today. Welcome, welcome. Love you all. And FOMO sits on top of that. So if you're doing some great stuff on social media already, brilliant. Keep doing it. Keep posting. That's the first thing that we tend to do. But to build a community, to bring people into our community, we need to like, we need to comment, we need to share. And I've just drawn this fabulous diagram, and it's broken into 2 bits. We've got the big community in the middle, and we want to drag people in from either our email list, social media, other aspects, audio rooms like Twitter and Clubhouse, picking up the phone, going networking, that kind of stuff. And then you've got your pink bubbles at the bottom where you're going to other people's communities. And if it's deemed good enough, then you can draw people into your community. This is the bit that people don't do enough of. They don't like, they don't share, they don't comment. They concentrate on the bit at the top where they're posting, building their email list and all the rest of it. So think about social media. Who are the people that you could perhaps build relationships with and get talking to on social media? Are there any Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups that you can start talking to people with? Are there any networking events? Well, here we're all here for the Linking Out group, Linking Out Club today. Are you coming every month to make sure that you're continuing those relationships with people, going to conferences? Some of us are going to Atomicon next week, and one of you lucky winners is going to come with us. And memberships. Are you a member of Sarah's Academy or other memberships? Are you drawing people into your community? That's the bit that we need to do, and it is hard work, but it's worth it. So another thing that we can do is, as I say, people don't do this enough, is to like, share, comment. Now, my hair was down to the base of my bottom, okay, really long. I had it cut short. I put a photograph on my Facebook profile, not my page, my personal profile. And I also raised a bit of money for charity as well. Now, you can see at the bottom of the screenshot, there were 93 comments, okay? And that was because I replied to each and every comment. I didn't like, I commented, because I want to create content for the lurkers. More about that in a moment, okay? And on the right-hand side, the fabulous Jennifer Gilmore, she has an amazing community. She has a business to help businesses grow through her networking group called Latte and I forgot, Lincoln Latte, I think it is. But she also is an advocate of speaking out about domestic abuse, because she was a victim, but she's a victor after that, and she continues to build relationships there. So I share that across my community. What's it got to do with my business as a FOMO creator? Nothing, but I'm being a nice person. I am sharing within my community things that I think people might find useful. So this is the kind of stuff that we ought to be doing, as well as thinking about the content that we're writing, okay? Tip 2, relationship building. I'm sure we all know this, how to build relationships, but can you also build relationships by creating content for the lurkers? What I mean by that is not getting obsessed with how many fans or followers or connections you have on LinkedIn, but it's about engaging with people, talking to people. Now, we've all been to a party, right? And, there may have been a circle, 2 people are talking, and everyone in that circle are listening, and they're waiting for their opportunity to inject their personal words of wisdom. Now, that is creating content for the lurkers. So when you're commenting, other people are actually looking at the conversation. They're lurking on your stuff, and we need to do more of that. So in building relationships, we comment on other people's stuff. We maybe share it into our community, and that helps us to, with those pink bubbles at the bottom, to draw people into our community. Okay, so on Instagram, for example, I did I answered 8 questions about FOMO and created a video. And question 2 is, who are lurkers and why is it important? So do go and check that out on Instagram. But I replied to everybody who responded to my post because I'm creating content for the lurkers. Okay, and it's just a case of allowing people to get to know who I am as a person, because if they like me, they may be nosy enough to go and lurk on my stuff. And if they trust me, then they may recommend me or buy from me in time. Okay, so creating content for the lurkers is so important. And if you want to know how to build relationships, let's all learn from the incredible relationship king himself, Gary Vaynerchuk. You can see there's a link there on the 3rd tick box, bit.ly/Gary V Insta. If you do it in that case, lowercase and uppercase accordingly, you'll get a link to an article that's still applicable today. So that's step 2. Now, in addition to that, we've got a fabulous friend, Marissa Callie, who interviewed me on 7 ways to create event FOMO. And you can see at the bottom there, Sarah actually added a comment because I made this point in this show in January this year about creating content for the lurkers. Because when you create a post, someone comments and you like it, it's nice, but it's not enough. You know, if someone was talking to you and paid you a compliment, you wouldn't just stick your thumbs up and say, nice one. You'd actually engage in a conversation. And that's what Sarah was saying with her comment at the bottom there. So we need to be more mindful. I know it takes time to reply to comments, but you're not just replying to that person, you're replying to the lurkers as well. This is how you build relationships. Okay, so tick 3, and tick 3, pay attention, folks, because if you want to be in with a chance of winning that Atomic Con ticket, the answer might be coming up. So tick 3, A is for authority. Showcase your authority and behind the scenes. Okay, so I class this FOMO as 3 parts. Pre-FOMO, before an event. Okay, an event, a networking thing, a webinar, a digital launch, a product launch, a service launch. Then you've got live FOMO. So as it's happening right now, whatever it is you're promoting. And then post FOMO, after the event. So pre-FOMO, Sarah and I, we were publicising about this event. It's our 1st year birthday at the Linking Out Club here. And you need to talk about it. You need to shout about it. And in fact, I probably shouted about it, I don't know, 15, 20 times on Instagram. You don't need to go as crazy as that, of course, but on all your platforms, on LinkedIn, maybe write a couple of posts. On Twitter, you can go crazy with as many tweets, but shout about it, talk about it, think of different creative ways of sharing the same message. Live FOMO is actually at the event. So I was hired by Agora Pulse, who was one of our first sponsors of the Linking Out Club. And they hired me as a live tweeter, as a FOMO creator, and also as an influencer to spread the word about Agora Pulse. So when I was live tweeting their conference, we did 326 tweets in total, which reached 2.6 million people. Now, I'm not saying that to show off, or maybe just a little bit, but to show you just how important it is to market your event at the event that you're actually presenting. That's the best time to market. And then post FOMO, most people, Rachel Eckstans, who actually does incredible copywriter, she does incredible summaries of conferences that she's been to. She writes about it, which is amazing. That's fantastic. But as in addition to that blog, you can chop it up and create lots of different content about that blog. So don't forget, pre-FOMO, live FOMO, post-FOMO, to showcase your authority and also show behind the scenes as well of what you do. And so on the left-hand side, we've got the British Association for Sustainable Sport, who I created FOMO for. They created pre-FOMO via email. I live tweeted on their behalf. I wrote a LinkedIn post on their behalf. And post-FOMO, the webinar that they had recorded was uploaded onto YouTube, and they also emailed to say, in case you missed it, here's the webinar again. So that's an example of pre-live and post-FOMO for a webinar. In the middle, this is me in San Diego, where I was live tweeting. Of course I was. And I was hired by a client who's at number 7 in that table, Content Cal, another fantastic social media tool. And there's me at number 1. Of course I am, because I'm the top tweeter, right? But what was important was that I managed to get into a conversation and a prospect within 20 minutes of having a conversation with someone, because my name was up in light. So live tweeting or Instagram storying, or well, LinkedIn stories doesn't exist anymore, but creating LinkedIn lives or LinkedIn posts, this can all help to create FOMO. And then behind the scenes that I talked about, so I put a picture up there talking about the equipment that I take when I'm interviewing customers, when I'm interviewing clients, when I'm going to conferences and creating FOMO. What was interesting was that my socks gained a bit more impact than the technical stuff that I was showcasing. But anyway, enough about that. Behind the scenes stuff, very, very important. That's tip 3. Tip 4, notoriety. Get famous. Create your own PR. Hang out with the journalists. And Rachel Spencer is an amazing woman. Go follow her on Instagram. Go follow her on LinkedIn and Twitter. If you've got a pet business, you need to go and check her out, because she helps you to gain more publicity, traditional press, okay, for your business. So, local radio, national magazines, local magazines, newspapers, and all the rest of it. But she also uses social media to showcase what she's done for her clients. And this is what you guys can do as well, to create your own PR agency with your testimonials, create them and shout about them. It's all well me telling you how amazing I am, but if other people told the world how amazing I am, okay, that's more believable, isn't it? So get your clients to get your testimonials to post up onto social media. And before I was a FOMO creator, I actually was in the space of tea. So my name is May King. I'm on all the socials as Making Tea, Making Tea, get it? Laughing at my own joke. And within a year or 2 of me coming back to the UK, I appeared on Sky News Sunrise, a Good Housekeeping Guide, Talk Radio, and the Great British Tea Off, which was held by the Dairy Board, where I was judging who was making the best cup of tea. Now, I got all of those PR gigs through searching on the hashtag journo request. Journalists hang out on Twitter. Now, I know Twitter is the 3rd poor cousin of all the other social media platforms, but if you want traditional press, if you want to appear on TV, radio, local, national, magazines, newspapers, blogs, and that kind of stuff, go and check out hashtag journo request and put in your request to get more publicity. And of course, if you get testimonials, shout about it. So very kindly, Sarah gave me a fabulous testimonial. It's a video testimonial, which is even better. I'll put it on YouTube and I'm going to shout about it. As I say, I could tell the world how amazing I am as a FOMO creator, but wouldn't it be better if other people told the world how amazing I am? And the same goes for you as well. So get your clients, get them to write testimonials, video testimonials ideally, and then shout about it, publicize it. That's the way that people can see who you are and what you do. Now, up at the top there, I don't know if you can see or not, hopefully you can. The title is Notoriety in PR, Get Testimonials, and a lovely quote, one of my favorite quotes from Muhammad Ali: it ain't bragging if you can back it up. Because sometimes we're a little bit British and we don't like shouting about ourselves. We don't like saying, oh, we're really rather good at this. So get other people to do it. Get your clients to do it. And it isn't bragging if you can back it up. I can say that I'm the world's #1 FOMO creator because there is no one else who's creating FOMO the way that I do. But I do have the stats to back it up. I've worked with Andrew and Pete from Atomicon. I've worked with Agora Pulse, and I've worked, I'm working with Sarah Clay just now. So if you've got stats, if you've got testimonials, go and shout about it. Okay, don't be British about it. And the fifth tip then, direct connection. So if you've done all of that, so FOMO strategy sits on top of your existing marketing and social media strategy and email strategy. It's all intertwined, all coming in together. Then hopefully people will connect with you. Now, if you're sending DMs or if you're receiving DMs, why don't you, if you're reaching out to prospects, why don't you be personal? Get personal. And what I mean by that is on LinkedIn, send a voice note. Okay. On Twitter, what I do is actually do a video on my phone and upload it onto Twitter. I do Instagram stories. Get personal, stand out from all the spammy DMs that we get on LinkedIn and send a voice note, or use an app such as Vidyard, Vidyard, do a video and send the link via LinkedIn. So get personal. It helps you to stand out from the crowd, all those spammy DM messages trying to sell you a 5-step process to become a millionaire. Ignore all that. You can stand out by being personal, by doing video or doing voice messages. Okay. And then this is where the magic happens. I had a lady lurking on my stuff for 18 months. Then she finally sends me a DM and says, what are your prices? And we've been working together for 6 months and counting. Sometimes it happens sooner than that. Hel Reynolds, she was speaking at a conference. I was live tweeting her stuff and she spoke to me within a day. And then I helped to create a FOMO for her. So this is how you can, when you're creating content for the Lurkers, when you are showcasing that you are an authority, when you are sharing your testimonials, because you are all blimmin' amazing, this is where the magic happens. And the DMs is really where it's at. Now, does FOMO work? Yeah, of course it does. And I had the privilege of creating FOMO for a conference up north called Pods at North. And it was a conference for podcasters. Now, I actually helped them with a social media strategy, a marketing strategy, and a FOMO strategy for 3 months. And within the 3 months, I actually helped to boost 25% ticket sales. I did this just on Instagram, because I've talked a lot about Twitter, but I did it just on Instagram. I also helped them to secure a sponsor, a key sponsor for their conference as well, as an influencer as well, which is pretty cool. Does FOMO work? Well, yeah, of course it does. Andrew and Pete, they are amazing. We've been talking about it quite a lot recently. Conference next week. I've been working with them to generate FOMO for them, where it's helped to buy tickets. So in 2019, we trended on the same day as International Women's Day. The tweets reached 28.5 million people, 75 tickets sold in 2 hours, 425 tickets sold in a week. Now, I'm not saying that it's my FOMO that helped. It definitely helped with that, but my FOMO strategy needs to work alongside a coordinated email, marketing, social media strategy, which Andrew and Pete do so well. And as a result of my epic FOMO creatorness, they hired me again and again and again for their virtual conferences as well, which is pretty awesome. And Janet Murray, she's another incredible lady, used to be a journalist, now has an incredible community. In fact, Tim Lewis, who's with us here today, he actually spoke at her epic conference, and I created FOMO for her as well. And as a result of the FOMO that I generated on top of her social media strategy, email strategy, marketing strategy, ads strategy, she sold 55% of her tickets within a week. And her tweets reached 31 million people. Okay, so does FOMO work? Yeah, of course it does. You bet your bottom dollar it does. Right. Whoopsies. I just wanted to give you a few Brucey bonuses. here we go. So I've talked a lot about FOMO. You can see all of my interviews on Pinterest, actually. There's a link at the bottom here. If you wanted to see the 7 ways to create event FOMO, that's a link to that there. And there was a blog post that was written by an American company on how brands can generate FOMO, where I was interviewed. So do go and check those out. Whoops. I'm pressing all the buttons here. What's going on? Here we go. Where are we going? Let's stop sharing my screen. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, I just wanted to say one little bit. So my name's Making Tsang, first name Making. I'm on all the socials as Making Tea. I am a FOMO creator, live content creator. I do interviews with business owners as well to help give you publicity. And if you want to talk FOMO strategy on top of your existing social media strategy, then send me a DM sometime.